Blah, blah, blah. Okay, Samsung, the floor is yours.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so good morning from here. Good afternoon and good evening to everyone joining us from across the globe, wherever you are joining the meeting from. My name is Ni or Samson Nianan. I am joining or connecting to all of you from Accra, Ghana, West Africa, and I'm honored to be your moderator for today's session, organized by the Climate Mobility Community Action Network, CMCAN. Our session is titled Highlighting the Importance of SB62 for Climate Mobility Action. And as we know, CMCAN is a community-driven platform that is committed to amplifying the voices and the experiences of people affected by climate and climate migration and displacement. And through education, dialogue, and collaboration, we actually work toward not just inclusive, but also effective solutions for climate mobility. And today's event comes at a very, very important moment. Please.
Samsung, I think it's a little bit hard to hear you. Yeah, I think Samsung's connection went out. So no problem, I will continue. So really the significance of this event.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. You're good. You're good. Keep going. Yeah.
Okay, so I went off here. So today's event comes at a very important moment. As we all know, the 62nd session of the subsidiary bodies, the SB62 under the UNFCCC, will take place this June in Bonn, and these meetings are very essential and important as it serves as a bridge between the annual COP summits, and it also offers critical space to advance concrete climate action. So together, we know that the SB62 has the SBSTA, that's for scientific and technological advice, and the SBI also ensures or are responsible for monitoring, implementation, and capacity build. So together, these support global discussions on adaptation, mitigation, climate finance, and transparency. Topics are vital to addressing climate mobility. And our objectives today is 3. We want to talk about SB62 and its functions, what it is, and also highlight its relevance to climate-induced migration and displacement. And we also want to share ideas and experiences from experts and participants alike. And I'm happy to introduce our speakers for today. We have Pira Sial, Raymond Hindoa, Lisa Russell, and Kama Iqbal. I hope I had your names mentioned well. We are so honored and happy to have you all. So we begin with our first section of the event, which is panel statement. And I'm happy to introduce our first speaker, Piral, to give his opening statement. So Piral, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Yeah, Pira, the floor is yours.
Hello, Pira.
Yeah. Hello, everyone.
Hi,
I
Pira.
hope everyone is doing well, and thank you so much for giving this great opportunity and arranging such an important event to get the knowledge and share the experiences, on-ground experiences, which I have in my country, Pakistan. So before going to give you the statement, I would like to give you let me introduce myself. So I'm Pira Sial from Pakistan, and I'm working as environmental chemist at Sindh Environmental Protection Agency, Government of Sindh, Pakistan. And also I'm the research co-lead with CMCN, the one that have organized this great event before the SB62. So we almost aware what kind of migrations or the climate mobility has been increased just because of the climate issues. So because I just wanted to highlight why the SB62 is like most important one, because the one major thing and simplest information I would say, it is like a preparations before the COP. It is like a mid-year preparations that at the COP we have the major highlights, major rules and the regulations that can be met at the COP 30, which is going to be held in this year in the month of November. But before this, every year we have uh, conferences. We can see a preparatory conferences, the conference or the event that is for specific for the COP, and that is the SP62. And 62 is like the year, every year the kind of things like SP's conferences arranged. So in that we have this year is remarked as the SP62, and it is not just only the climate meeting, but is actually the powerful platform where we all, the youth organizations or even the research institutes, educators, everyone can come together or come forward for the collective actions related to the climate mobility or the issues related to the climate. So I must say that the SP62 is actually the part of United Nations climate change subsidiary bodies, and which actually offers us an opportunity that we have to address the climate mobility and structures the global recognized spaces, because it is just not only give you an idea how the climate, just because of the climate change, people are displaced from their own places. They are like forced and bound to leave their original places, and they have to go to the another place just because of the climate change. So it is also brings together the negotiators, activists, or even the researchers, decision makers, because they all are ensuring SP62 about the mobility. And even both, we can say, even they are the climate mobility is not is just only about like moving from one place to another. It is sometimes the voluntarily you have to leave your home, your villages or your community. So and also sometimes is a forced one by the governments, because it is like in the end you do not have any option left to leave your place and go to the another place which is somehow we can say protected to the climate change. So as I have told you, because I belong to the Pakistan, and here every year we have the repetitive modes of the climate change, and I have witnessed even the one of the recent example I would give you in 2022. Just 3 years ago, I have witnessed the devastating effects of the climate change due to the heaviest rainfalls, and millions of the people has forced or sometimes voluntarily they are leaving their home or everything behind, and they are like forced to uh, go and migrate to the another places just because of the climate change. And it's like it is not about the one day issue, because climate and the weather have the different meanings, whether it's like in 48 hours or maybe the 72 hours, everything can be the change. But when the climate action or the climate effects are emerging, the everything is completely changed for the people who are bearing, and for the government, the one who are facing or mitigating into this regard. So I have witnessed in Pakistan regarding to the migrations, or the people are migrated just because of the climate issues. It is not only about the Pakistan, because every country is facing such issues, or every people in this. So this SP62 is one of the greatest platform for the people. I would specifically mention the youth and the youth representatives, and even the youth organizations. They must come forward to especially talk about the SP62 is the crucial platform and important in terms of the climate mobility, because it is like creates a mechanism. We have to evaluate our voices specifically from the global south and even from the African countries as well, because we all must come forward to share the evidence-based, or we can say research-based ideas, or the research-based solutions for the problems. Because I have, uh, I consider myself as because the today's youth knows the problem, but they also knows the solution as well. And this is the great platform. I would suggest everyone should join it. They should come forward, represent their countries' issues, and everything related to this. And even I would say that, because the another suggestions, I would say a nature-based solutions where the youth can contribute more, or even the national adaptations plans as well. And they also give us suggestions in the international negotiations related to the climate mobility. And these are things when we are thinking about all the factors related to the whether the climate mobility, nature-based solutions, or even the national adaptation plans, we have to come forward whether you have the solution or even you're representing specific communities, you must have the solution and you have a voice. And this is one of the best platform where every youth come forward, they can share their ideas, collectively, they can give a better solution for this. So let's ensure that the climate mobility is actually the no longer a side issue, but is the major and the centered issues. And even I thought that the SB62, where we can work together to build pathways of the dignity, even the resilience, and even hope for the one that are the most affected due to the climate issues. And thank you so much for giving an opportunity for me.
Well, thank you very much, Pira, for that insightful presentation, especially drawing on some perspective from Pakistan. Next, we would hear from Raymond Hindoa in Gekba. Raymond, I guess you're ready. Hello, Raymond.
Yeah, I know Raymond's here.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Okay, we can hear you now. Yes, the floor is yours.
I'm Raymond from Sierra Leone. The country director of Women and Youth Empowerment for Ecological Climate Change in Sierra Leone. Since climate is really disturbing the people in Sierra Leone here, especially the farmers and some community. As an organization, we have started doing some stakeholders engagement on climate mobility, how to tackle this climate mobility in our country, because it's really disturbing. Flooding is taking place from one place to another. People are migrating from their home to another community because of this flooding and this climate mobility. So it's really disturbing people. So we as an organization, we are on it, doing some community engagement with some stakeholders, with some NGOs around and Sierra Leone in our districts.
Hello, Raymond.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, go on. Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
All right, because it's really disturbing, because our people are perishing, are really perishing, because there is no law on it, because all this climate mobility are caused on this deforestation, cutting of trees, choking of the unwanted things in the gutters. All these are things that disturbing, because we have some communities that this flooding is really taking place. People have migrated from one community to another's. Wildfire, some of them, they don't know where fire came from. They just see fire. All these make people migrate to another place. So it's really pity for them. So as an organization, we are crying for some organization to partner with us, so that we can help those people that are in need, for us to fight against this climate change. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Raymond, for your concise presentation. Next, we would hear from Lisa Russell. Lisa, if you can hear me, please take over.
Oh, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, sure.
Great. Thank you so much. So greetings from Mombasa. My name is Lisa Russell. I'm from New York, but I got stuck in East Africa during COVID. So now East Africa is my home. Before I start my statement, I just want to share a quote that I think many of us have probably heard before, which is, "Until the lion learns how to write, every story will glorify the hunter." Until the lion learns how to write, every story will glorify the hunter. So again, my name is Lisa Russell, and I'm a big advocate that arts and storytelling is completely underutilized in terms of the craft of arts and storytelling. I'm an Emmy award-winning filmmaker. I am a UN NGO arts curator, and I'm the founder and global co-chair of the Arts and Culture Working Group. And I'm just a complete believer that based on numerous COP29s, the Africa Climate Summit, the World Water Day and Ocean Conference at the UN, that we are in a complete need of rebooting the way we talk about climate and climate communications. Because the reason why I shared that quote is that I believe that we are losing the narrative on climate. We're losing it to big oil, we're losing it to climate deniers, and those with louder platforms and deeper pockets. So I think the secret lies in creating better partnerships between climate advocates, youth climate advocates, and intergenerational professional artists and storytellers who make up the global creative economy, which, as we know, is one of the fastest growing forces in the world. So in essence, we the artist, right? We are the hunter, we are the trainers, and we want to train the lions how to write so that we can go up against these harmful narratives and these, big institutions and organizations and businesses that, again, have the pockets to pay professional marketing companies, professional PR companies to create really harmful narratives. And so I envision this day where we bring together these different communities, whether they're frontline communities, young people, climate advocates, indigenous communities, and allies, to really reform and tell really bold, disruptive, passionate, emotional stories that don't just inform us about the climate crisis, but ignite us to act. And the thing I want to say about SB62 is that it is an important gathering. Living here in Mombasa, I am deeply worried about what will happen when the oceans rise or if we have continuous flooding. Why? Because a lot of people here don't know how to swim, and they get very freaked out about heavy rains and whatever. And then I made a climate change music video that touched on the issue of visa injustice. I see all these incredible young people who are doing great work in their communities, unable to travel or spread their messages or move about. And when I think about a very big crisis happening, and you have huge populations that are more, in the rural areas or lower income who are not used to traveling and then are forced to resettle or get replaced, it's going to be chaos. Like, we need to, if I'm going to compare it to like public health, we need to invest in prevention before the crisis hits. And I really genuinely believe that if and when the crisis hits Mombasa, it's going to be really, really tragic. So I, again, going back to storytelling, believe that we need to sound the alarms, but not through information only. People don't even know what SB62 means. They don't even, most of the population do not know SB62. They don't know COP30. Right? And if we need to put pressure on decision makers or people with money, people with power, we need the masses to be engaged, because there's no other way to do systems change, in my point of view. You have to put pressure on people with power. And so I will end by saying, I've never been to an SB gathering. I work in the climate space. I'm a storyteller. I'm going to encourage all of you that work with young people and advocate for youth voices to also consider artists and storytellers. And I'm talking about professionals, professional full-time artists and storytellers who we would love to align with you and be partners in crime, because we face the same restrictions, lack of pay, tokenism, you name it, that a lot of young people and the youth movement went through, but you guys have made such great strides. So let's find a way to not only get youth voices amplified, but let's bring together artists and storytellers along with young people and take over the narrative. Let's all be lions for climate. So that's all I'll say for now, but thank you again for having me.
Well, thank you very much, Lisa. That was a very great presentation, and I couldn't agree with you more. I still believe that the concept of climate change still remains abstract for a lot of people. So
yeah,
storytelling is indeed one creative way, is one of the creative ways we can consider and trumpet more to bring the narratives of climate change, climate mobility, all the issues around climate change to everyone along or around the globe. We will now have our last statement, and I'm happy to introduce our next speaker. We have Iqbal.
Yeah, thank you
can you
very
hear
much.
me? Yes,
Yeah,
we can
yeah.
see
Thank you very
you
much
too,
for
and I trust you're doing well. The floor is yours.
yeah. Thank you very much, first of all, to CMCAN for giving me the opportunity to be part of this initiative to talk specifically with the youth from different regions, different parts of the world. So I'm co-founder of Climate Alliance Pakistan, and we are working not only in Pakistan, but ultimately our purpose is how we can, globally we can raise voices collective among other movements or other alliances, coalitions, so that collective actions can be taken for the single one agenda, ultimately for the communities who are, they are, are the effects of the climatical changes at a very grassroots level in across the global south. And that is one of the reasons that I was interested to talk about it. So I think for the highlighting the critical role of SB62 in shaping global responses to climate mobility. Today, the planet faces, escalating climate threats. Already, my fellow colleagues have talked about it. But just to add on that, there are predictions and they are suggesting that by 2050, climate-induced disasters could displace as many as 1.2 million individuals, making the need of robust proactive policies more urgent than ever. So we need to, talk about not only, as Lisa mentioned, that it's not about tokenism, it's really taking it back to the hearts, and we need to talk from the heart rather than from the mind. And SB62 is far more than a discussion forum, it is a transformative platform where international policymakers, local leaders, affected communities, they converge to turn the urgent challenges of climate mobility into actionable solutions. And by bridging high-level policy debates with the lived experience of those on the front lines, SB62 ensures that innovation, inclusivity, and resilience are at the heart of the at the heart for our responses. And why I am talking about, this climate mobility, because we at Climate Alliance Pakistan are already, initiated a dialogue on climate justice. And I think without talking about climate mobility, we can't talk about holistically for the climate justice. And ultimately, we are talking about how the South-South partnerships can strengthen and accelerate the process of climate justice. So we are committing to harnessing local wisdom and translating it to measurable global impact. Our overall goal is to empower the communities, drive equitable policy reforms, and secure the human right to the clean, healthy, and sustainable environment. On behalf of this platform, I invite all participants here today to join us in this collective effort. Together, we can transform urgent challenges into lasting positive change for climate migrants worldwide. So this is not about just an event. SB62 is not just about, participating in person. There are a lot of opportunities that we can, be part of the discussions and discourses through the virtual platforms. So we need to be part and parcel of every, whatever the platform we came in to know or that is available for the youth, we need to be part and parcel of those. And I also want to appeal to the youth that they should, search whoever is, working on climate mobility's issue, and they should be part of those discussions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kama, for that beautiful presentation. Now we've heard different perspectives across our globe. I mean, from the global north, we've also heard shared or lived experiences from the global south. And I think if we mix all or everything we've heard, is just ripe for us to get into even deeper conversations and ask a lot of questions. And hopefully we are going to get deeper understanding on what SB62 is all about and why it is very, very important for us, especially those of us who have interest in climate mobility. So We will have our breakout room activity now. We just have about 10 minutes maximum, and we are going to be doing just one thing, discussing key questions, and we'll post the questions in the chat. Uchenna, I believe, will be helping us to get the questions in the chat. And the questions are, what are your thoughts on SB62 and why it is important? We want to know. And how can nonprofits like CMCAN raise awareness on climate mobility through conferences like SB62? We also want to know your perspective of how you hope to see, or what you hope to see from SB62 on climate mobility action. And lastly, should climate mobility be a standalone topic in the UNFCCC, that's the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change? Do you think that we should treat the issue or the subject of climate mobility separately from all the other conversations that goes on during the SB conferences? So it's now time for us to go into our separate rooms. We shall get back here to continue the conversation.
Okay, hi everyone. We'll be moving into our separate breakout rooms now to have like more intimate conversations on this questions, and we'll take just a few minutes, and we'll be back to listen to our thoughts again. So just give me a minute while I put us in separate breakout rooms.
Hello, the meeting is on.
Yeah, I think Uchenna's just trying to figure out the breakout rooms. Uchenna, do you need help or you're good? Okay, let me just see if Uchenna, if not, I can do it right now if he needs help. Okay, let me just do it. I have it on my end. Okay, I opened all the rooms.
Olivia, do I have access to do that? Because I can't find.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, I helped you with it. No problem. So I opened all the rooms right now. So feel free to just randomly go to them. So we'll just wait. So please do join the rooms on your screen. Thank you. And also speakers can as well, and everyone else who's in this event. Please do join the rooms and discuss the questions that are in the chat within your respected rooms. So yeah, so feel free to join, and no worries, Uchenna, on that. Okay. Feel free to join the rooms. We'll just wait a bit more. Yep, please do join your respective rooms. Yep, to discuss the questions. If you haven't, please do join the rooms. Awesome. Thank you so much for all your help. It's going great. Okay, so for those who are here, I will then work to assign you to a room if you're not in one. So for those who just joined us, we'll assign you to a breakout room again. So please do join the breakout room.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, welcome back,
Okay, are
everyone.
we all safely back to the main room?
I think
Yes,
Hope
we're
no
still
one has had
you
expecting.
issues
escorted us
Safely.
of
well.
Safely.
transportation.
Agree.
You escorted us
Okay, good
well.
to know.
Yes.
Hi,
Okay,
welcome back, everyone.
yeah, welcome back. Yeah.
So I think we had, I wouldn't say enough time, but just enough time to share our thoughts on the four questions that were shared. So, thank you for your efforts and breakout rooms. So, would love to hear our thoughts on these questions. So anyone from either of the four breakout rooms could share. We'd love to hear your thoughts on either of all four questions. So I don't know who wants to go first.
So if you want to talk, you can please raise your virtual hand or post in the chat and I'll call you to talk. Yeah, I think we have a hand up.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very
Kama?
much.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we are grabbing the opportunity. So, I think it's a very insightful discussion, although the time was very short. But we talked about question number 1 and question number 4. Point number 1, or we can say point number 4. First, on point number 4, we were only 3, so we have a 50-50 ratio that 50% said that it should be a separate discussion on climate mobility. On the other hand, one participant has the other view that it should be mainstreamed across different, negotiations and other topics rather than having a separate discussion specifically on that. So I think I said to them that we do respect their opinions, and ultimately both have their own pros and cons. Specifically talking about and a single issue have their own positives and negatives, and likewise mainstreaming it across different, negotiation discussions that has again different positives and negatives. And secondly, we also talked about the SB62, that what is the knowledge and why it is important. So I think youth has understanding about, different platforms, different forums, but some of the challenges that we foresee and we always, struggling with those challenges and harsh realities rather than challenges are the access issues, because of these always SBs are in the Bonn, and the visa issues, the time with the embassies, then keeping in mind that the youth is going, either they will come back or not. So these type of myths, they are creating more access issues for the youth. So we need to also raise our voice, collective voice on these issues. And secondly, we need to figure out that whatever the sponsorship opportunities are available for the youth, so we need to keep searching on those and keep posting for those opportunities to be part of those discussions. And we also witnessed that if in any case we are not able to be part of SB62 at in person, we can also there is option to be registered as an online participant, and we can virtually participate in different discussions. We can learn from whatever the our country relevant country context is, and how our organization is positioning ourselves at the global forums, or they are negotiating on behalf of the people of their country. So until or unless we are not in the space, we are not in the room, we are not on the table, it will be very difficult to understand that how the decisions are being made and who is taking those decisions. So these were small, discussion we have in it, and ultimately people, young people especially, they are getting more and more knowledge because they are used to the effective use of technology. So they are getting more and more concerned about different these platforms. But ultimately, access is issue, and we need to highlight and raise voice on those. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kama, for your insightful sharing. In the chat, we have a message from Atik, and he says, I was there with Mr. Kama in the breakout room SB62. That's the 62nd sessions of the subsidiary bodies of the UNFCCC are crucial mid-year climate talks that set the stage for major decisions at the annual conference of the party, specifically COP30 in Belém, Brazil this year. Thank you so much, Atik, for sharing your insights. Any more contributions? Anyone has something more to say?
Yeah, I'll say something. I'll go quickly.
Okay, all right,
So
okay.
we had a few people in our room. One of them spoke French, so we got through what we could. The idea that a young woman named Nyla brought up is that we really need to be engaging and training young people in these high-risk communities. I agree with you. I told you in my opening statement that this visa injustice issue is a real big barrier. I don't know if you've also been watching the news, but there's an estimated like millions or billions of dollars that get paid to apply for visas and then not get them. This is wasted money, right? They could be supporting young people in the actions that they did. When the Department of Global Communication hosted the civil society conference in Nairobi, to me, it was game changing. It was, you saw so many young people there from so many different African countries, mostly. I think one of the things we should push is to either get SB2 out, 62 out, or 63, whatever the next ones are, out of Europe and bring it to the global South, or we do find a way to reform conference culture. It doesn't even work to sit and watch these conferences online. They're incredibly boring. It's a bunch of statements. It's not, I'm sorry, like I work in the arts and I work with a lot of young people. And if we really want to engage young people, maybe we need a new system, even if it means we watch collectively parts of SB62, but we do something different after it or outside of it. This conference culture is not sustainable, and it's a lot of money that gets wasted. And I feel like we need to challenge this process, because it's not in touching and engaging the people that we mostly need to be touching and engaging. So that's my personal thought. But Nyla, if you're there and you want to add what you said, I thought it was really helpful. So I'll be quiet now.
Okay, can I jump in now? All right. Lisa, thank you so much for your contribution. I think we've done so much well with time. We have 10 minutes. That's pretty much cool. So we will split the last 10 minutes into two halves. The next 5 minutes, we want to quickly get insights or ask two major questions from our speakers. And then we have the last 5 minutes to everyone. If you have any questions you want to ask, you will be given the platform to do that. So our first question is, I'll flip it to, I'll ask the second question that says, what outcomes do you hope, or do we hope from SB62, especially on climate mobility action, since that's our interest? So we are asking, what outcomes are we hoping for from SB62? Any of our speakers can take up this question. Okay. So any thoughts?
Yeah, my only thoughts are
Kama, do you want
that
to
yeah.
say something? Yeah.
Yeah, my thoughts are that we need to, it should be on the around the injustices, whatever are happening, because the global north is doing something that is creating challenges for the global south. So why not link it with the injustices that are being happening? either those are economic, social, political, whatever those are. So we need to, in a way, we need to convert our conversations along those lines. And ultimately, if we fix any specific agenda around these lines for the COP30, it will be a very good position for ourselves to policy discourses and discussions for the COP30, rather than only focusing what we can achieve from SB62, because majorly in SB62 it's a we can say a pathway for between the two COPs. So we can pitch collectively for the discussions around injustices by aligning it and converging it with the climate mobility, and then we can position ourselves collectively for the COP30. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Kamal, for that insight. Any more perspective on what our expectations are in respect to the outcomes from SB62? The other question is, how can we make events like the SB62 more inclusive to ensure all voices are heard? How can we ensure that the field is equal? In other words, that everyone or all voices, regardless of class, status, race, gender, are all part of this conversation. I think we've had bits of ideas around how we can make it much more inclusive, but I don't know if anyone would want to say something with regards to that.
I'd like to say something. If I'm not talking
Okay,
too
all
much.
right. Okay, all right, sure.
I'm going to use another arts reference, but there's a woman named Eve Ensler that wrote this play, and it was around gender-based violence. And every Valentine's Day, they have community members take the play and interpret it at the local level. So this campaign doesn't sit in New York, it doesn't sit in Europe, it doesn't sit in one place. Everybody owns it. And in fact, I think even the copyright, like you're allowed to request the copyright to use it, do an event or whatever. Now, I know that they used to have regional climate weeks. I don't know what happened to those, but I do think that one of the ways that we can flip this system is to take ownership at the local level. And I wish that maybe international conferences would dedicate some of the money that goes to flights and hotels and everything to supporting young people in local communities, and we do localized events, because what's going to happen in Bonn may hit the news or may go to member states or may go to the UN or whatever. It doesn't mean it's necessarily going to affect and get to the local communities. And I think we are missing a great opportunity with that. And again, with this, there is an upcoming climate week in Africa. Fantastic. I don't know where in Africa, I haven't heard about it, but I still think that there could be community building concept or whatever, driven by young people, driven by creative communities, where we say, okay, in Mombasa County during SB62, we'll get together, those of us who are committed to this, we'll watch parts of the speech, but we'll talk with local communities. And so we'll make it localized so that it's not just this thing that happens, in the global north. Yeah, so, and maybe this is something I'm not deep in enough to know, but I do think that, like I said, when I went to the May 2023 conference in Nairobi for the Department of Global Communication, totally different than all the conferences I've been at in New York or Europe or whatever. It just felt much more authentically inclusive. And so just an idea that there could be a campaign of some sorts that takes these high-level meetings and has a movement to really create community level, and maybe they're fun events, maybe they're, today's World Environment Day, maybe it could have been, we could have done something locally for World Environment Day or whatever, but I just feel these like Global North conferences, the visa injustice, the money that's spent, the climate impact, it just feels like it's just not a good system. It's not sustainable. Governments have to meet, member states have to meet, and they
Absolutely.
can do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But I think
Well,
we need a new system. Yeah.
sure. Lisa, thank you so much. You couldn't have said it any better. That brings us to the very last round of our conversation. And at this point, the floor is open to all of us. If you have any questions, anything we've not scratched, you want to ask, or you have any contribution, the floor is open. We can do this in the next 2 minutes.
Good morning again. I really admire the discussion of this particular meeting, and I pray that this group will be going to be united and as one. Since we are in Sierra Leone here, I told you the early times that we have a lot of problems that are affecting our communities. But due to the partnership, make some of us, our organization, not to be function well. So we are really asking the climate mobility to partner with us so that we can implement a project for them in Sierra Leone here. That is one. And the contribution, you said, the outcoming from the SDG 62, something like that. And we pray that immediately after the programs of this particular program, we pray that we will get a particular implementation that will help the community to fight against these climate issues, because climate is really, really disturbing the farmers, the animal, the children all over. Even water crisis in Sierra Leone here, it's also caused by this climate change. So we pray that these people will see that it's necessary to do something on this climate issue. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Raymond, for sharing this with us. Any more thoughts? We can have maybe just one person more.
Yeah, good morning. I'm Jambai
good
Mori
morning.
from Sierra Leone.
Yeah, Jambai. Okay, Jambai. Yeah, let's have you.
Yeah, I really appreciate this kind of initiatives. Yeah, and what I want to ask is that I want to ask a favor from the initiative, that after the whole program, you try to empower the young, as you have empowered the young people, or you are trying to empower the young people to take up climate responsibility. I want you also to provide financial aid for young people in Africa to embark on climate projects that will educate their fellow young people in every society they find themselves, so that they can challenge those climate problems that they are facing. Sierra Leone, to be specific, is facing a lot of environmental issues when it comes to plastic waste management. It's very much poor, flooding occur everywhere and there. So this issue is very destroying lives and properties. So being part of this particular initiative is very much good. So this is my own plea. After this whole program, I want this particular climate mobility programs to empower the youth with financial aid, so that they can embark on projects that will make sure that they try to bring solutions to those climate problems in their society. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jambai, for having the last bite. I believe we've learned so much from this interaction, and it's been a very meaningful session. Many thanks to our panelists, Pira, Raymond, Lisa, and Kama, and to all of you for your participation. We definitely want to stay connected with you, so please check the links. I believe it will be shared or posted in the chat. Our social media handles on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Twitter. We want you to follow us, the Climate Mobility Community Action, that's the name. You can also check our website, cmcanetwork.com. We have lots of information and updates on some of the things that are coming up. Before we go, Olivia, maybe you want to say something?
Yeah, for sure. I just want to say I definitely echo the looking for funding, and we're currently working on that. But to be as realistic as possible, unfortunately, funding is very hard for nonprofits, especially new nonprofits who are trying to make the best out of, becoming established and all that. It's not like we're not looking for funding. We are actively looking for funding. We have a donor committee, we have a grants committee and fundraising committee. So we are working on an ambassador program for the beginning of September or October, where essentially we're going to be giving ambassadors who want to educate their communities about climatability and handbook and workshops to help them, but also hopefully providing some sort of stipend in the long run so they can help to lead their own youth-led community projects. So if you know of any funding that's Africa-based, I will, when writing the email, you can email me, or if you want to join our WhatsApp group, if you know of any such opportunities, please do email our way and we will definitely look for it. But yeah, this was a very insightful conversation. Thank you all so much for joining. I think we learned so much. Feel free to follow us in the links that are posted on the chat, and in the coming days, you'll be getting email from our events and programs team, essentially with the recruiting and next steps and how you can be engaged. And again, if you know of any funding opportunities, please do join our WhatsApp group, and I will also give you my email and the grants email so we can work on that together, okay? Bye, everyone. Thank you. Have a lovely day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, lovely.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.